Today is day 16 of 21 days of intentional awareness. Welcome back. Today, I want you to recall your greatest interaction with a stranger. If you don't have a moment like that, then I encourage you to create one when the opportunity organically presents itself next. I mentioned on day 7 that my first year in LA was a fleet of struggle buses, and year 2 wasn't vastly different. I was still working 2 jobs and struggling to come up with the funds to stay afloat. One day I was taking a Lyft from job number 1 where I'd opened to job number 2 where I'd closed, and my Lyft driver Hillard was a total saint. He not only got me from job number 2 safely and promptly, but he turned off his app once we arrived at my destination so he could offer me a bit of life advice, which was much needed and so appreciated. The short version of the story is that I'd reached a point where I really was emotionally neglecting myself. I was constantly bearing my emotions in an effort to rise to the occasion of whatever moment I was in, which seemed to be constant while living in LA because those people need a lot of pampering. I got into the car, we exchanged basic greetings. He asked me if I'd been shopping or working because he picked me up at the mall. I asked him how many hours he'd been driving that day, etc. If I remember correctly, I was his first ride. Something I certainly do remember is that he had just left the hospital where his wife had given birth. And when he asked me how I was doing, I was considerate in first asking him something along the lines of, "Do you really want to know? Because it's a lot." He said, "Well, then God must have orchestrated this because I'm a psychologist by profession." And so I just spilled it all. I was in tears, snot running down my face. It was a lot, but it felt so good. Apart from recommending a good book and offering a lollipop, he told me about a few local places that he thought would be great in helping me to just heal. He also gave me his phone number so that if I ever needed a family away from home, I could have just that in his. Honestly and regrettably, I never used it, but in that 30-minute ride, he changed so much for me simply by reminding me of hope and giving me a listening ear.